What's going on, baseball fans? How are we doing? So with International Signing Day coming up this weekend, I wanted to put together a list of what I think are the best ever international amateur free agent signings of all time. Let's go talk about it. Starting off my list at number 10, I have Carlos Delgado, signed out of Puerto Rico. He was actually a catcher as a prospect. They tried him out in the outfield as well, but in the end, he ended up at first base. And my, oh my, what a career he had. Put together a 44.4 wins above replacement on Baseball Reference, hit 280 in his career, over 7,200 at-bats, 473 home runs, over 1,500 RBIs, had a 383 on base, a 546 slugging. Carlos Delgado was one of the most feared left-handed bats just for a long time with the Blue Jays. He was with the Marlins in 2005, and then after the Marlins fire sale, ended up getting traded to the Mets. Carlos Delgado was just always really solid, hitting a ton of home runs, driving in a ton of runs, led the major leagues in RBIs with 145 in 2003, finished second in MVP voting that year, finished fourth in MVP voting in the year 2000. This guy was just absolutely bonkers with the Blue Jays. Easily one of the best left-handed bats of all time. Coming in at number 9, I have Luis Aparicio out of Venezuela. A bit of a different look here. We had Carlos Delgado, a big power bat that drove in a ton of runs. Luis Aparicio, we're going to be seeing more fielding and speed with him. A very good shortstop during his career, compiled a 55.8 wins above replacement. For his career, he hit 262 with a 311 on base, a 343 slugging. Again, not really too much with the offense, but when it came to his defense, he was phenomenal. He was one of the best all time, had over 500 career stolen bases. If we take a look at where he ranked defensively, of all time, among all the positions, he ranked 8th in defensive runs above average on Fangraphs. And if we take a look at where he ranked among shortstops in stolen bases, he ranked 10th all time. So again, a bit of a different player. You look to him more for your glove, more for the speed. He was a very, very good player. Rookie of the Year in 1956, won a ton of gold gloves, 9 gold gloves altogether, 13-time All-Star, made it to the World Series in 1966. Luis Aparicio, I think, one of the more underrated players in Major League history. Coming in at number 8, I have Vladimir Guerrero out of the Dominican Republic. Maybe one day on this list we will see his son, Vlad Jr., but for now, Vladimir Guerrero makes this list. He was just such a phenomenal player to watch. One of the most wackadoodle hitters I've ever seen. This guy could hit one out. He could hit a ball that was above his head out of the park. He was absolutely ridiculous. I think there was even a couple of times where he just absolutely got into one where it hit the dirt. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero, he could hit anything. I mean, take a look at the numbers that he had in his career. Hit 318 for his career. Almost 1,500 RBIs, 449 career home runs, a 379 career on base, a 553 career slugging. That is very good. Altogether, a 59.5 wins above replacement. With Montreal in the beginning of his career, he was phenomenal there. It wasn't just the bat, it was also his arm. Just had a cannon of an arm. 2004, was able to put it all together, winning the MVP in 2004. Couldn't quite get the Angels to the promised land that year. Couldn't make it past my Red Sox in the first round, but he was just a scary hitter in his career and one of the best hitters of all time. Coming in at number 7, I have Andruw Jones out of Curacao. Andruw Jones, one of my favorite players of all time. I hope this guy makes it to the Hall of Fame. He's on the ballot right now. But Andruw Jones, what a phenomenal career. Made it to the major leagues at 19 years old. Was playing in the World Series at 19 years old against the New York Yankees. Hit a home run in his first 2 World Series at-bats. Are you kidding me? What a career he put together. A 5-time All-Star, won a Silver Slugger, but the thing that Andruw Jones was known for, while he did have a very good bat, he was a 10-time Gold Glove winner. This guy was phenomenal in the outfield. But with the bat, definitely known for his power as well. He had how many seasons here? 1, 2, 3, 4 straight seasons with at least 30 home runs. He had 51 home runs in 2005, finished second in MVP voting that year. This guy just won Gold Gloves all over the place. Too bad he was never able to win a World Series, but the fact that this guy was so good to be able to play in a World Series at 19 years old, that's just phenomenal. In his career, he hit .254, had 434 home runs, drove in just under 1,300 RBIs, had an on-base of .337, a .486 slugging, and 823 OPS total. But again, it was that defense that was just so good with Andruw Jones, a 62.7 wins above replacement. Andruw Jones, easily one of my favorite players. Coming in at number 6, I have Edgar Martinez out of Puerto Rico. What an underrated player Edgar Martinez was. One of the best hitters of our lifetime. Altogether, he had a 68.4 wins above replacement. In his Hall of Fame career, he hit .312 with a .418 lifetime on-base percentage. That is really good. A .515 slugging, a .933 OPS total, had over 300 home runs, had over 2,200 hits, had over 1,200 RBIs. A phenomenal hitter Edgar Martinez was. One of the best designated hitters of all time, in my opinion, right behind David Ortiz. But Edgar Martinez, look at some of these years that he had. Look at 1995, over 145 games. He hit .356 with a .479 on-base percentage and over an 1,100 OPS. He only got third in MVP voting that year. Are you kidding me? This guy, 7-time All-Star, 2-time batting champion, 5-time Silver Slugger. It's a shame this guy couldn't get a World Series. One of the best and most underrated bats of all time. Coming in at number 5, I have Larry Walker out of Canada. This is one of the more interesting ones on this list. Larry Walker was quite the hockey player as a young lad, ended up transitioning into baseball, and boy oh boy did he become quite the player. A Hall of Famer back in 2020, a 72.7 career wins above replacement for his career. He hit .313 with a 400 on base, a .565 slugging, a .965 OPS overall, 383 home runs, over 1,300 RBIs, over 200 stolen bases. That is rather good. Larry Walker, I think, one of the more underrated players in the game. Back in 1997, did win the MVP. Look at the numbers this guy put up that year. This is one of the more underrated seasons in baseball history to me. Hit .366, a .452 on base, a .720 slugging, 49 home runs, 130 RBIs, 33 stolen bases. This guy absolutely deserved the MVP. Started off his career with the Expos, went to the Rockies, ended up going to the Cardinals later on, was in the World Series against my Red Sox in 2004. Larry Walker, just a phenomenal career, an underrated career, if you ask me. Coming in at number 4, I have Mariano Rivera out of Panama. Easily the most dominant reliever of all time. A Hall of Famer, a 13-time All-Star, a 5-time World Series winner, won a World Series MVP, an All-Star Game MVP, an ALCS MVP, 5-time Rolaids Relief Man of the Year. Mariano Rivera, the greatest relief pitcher of all time. But it's really interesting how his career ended up starting. Back in 1990, he signed with the Yankees. At age 18, Rivera joined a local amateur baseball team and was invited to a tryout camp run by Yankees scout Chico Heron. Rivera had no formal pitching training, which blows my mind, and was only said to be clocked between 85 to 87 miles per hour. But the Yanks' Herb Rayborn was impressed by Rivera's athleticism and smooth mechanics, ended up signing with the Yankees in 1990, a $2,500 signing bonus. Mariano Rivera was actually a starting pitcher early on in his career, ended up having a cutter, and that led to him just being the most dominant relief pitcher, the most dominant closer of all time. 652 saves, that is the most of all time. An ERA plus of 205. For his career, he had a 2.21 ERA. He had a 2.76 FIP. Just an absolutely Unbelievable career for Mariano Rivera. Coming in at number 3, I have Miguel Cabrera out of Venezuela. His career is not over just yet, but what a career he has already put together. A 2-time MVP, won the Triple Crown back in 2012, a World Series champion from 2003 with the Marlins. He was 20 years old when he played in that World Series, hit a home run off Roger Clemens in that World Series, an 11-time All-Star, a 7-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 4-time batting champion. I mean, Miguel Cabrera, this guy has just done it all. 310 batting average lifetime, 502 home runs as of right now, over 1,800 RBIs, a 387 career on base, a 532 career slugging. Miguel Cabrera, when all is said and done, sure, maybe he's not doing too much for the Tigers right now, but when it's all over, when all the smoke is cleared, Miguel Cabrera will be one of the best players to ever live. Coming in at number 2, I have Pedro Martinez out of the Dominican Republic. Get ready for me to geek out on some Pedro Martinez, Hall of Famer, 3-time Cy Young winner, a Triple Crown, 8-time All-Star, 2004 World Series champion, 5-time ERA winner, All-Star Game MVP, 219 wins, a career 2.93 ERA, over 3,100 strikeouts, over 2,800 innings pitched, over 476 games. Pedro, one of the all-time best, and in my opinion, the best ever international pitcher. I mean, look at some of these numbers. Look at the 1999 season he had. He went 23-4, a 2.07 ERA. He had a 1.39 FIP, over 13 strikeouts per 9. Are you kidding me? This was during a time when guys were hitting balls to the moon. I mean, are you kidding me? The All-Star game that year, he struck out like 3 of the best hitters consecutively in the All-Star game. Unbelievable. 1997 with the Montreal Expos. That's where, well, he started off with the Dodgers and then he went to the Expos. 97 had a heck of a season that year. A 1.90 ERA, 17-8, a 2.39 FIP, over 11 strikeouts per 9. Won the Cy Young there. I mean, unbelievable. What a career for Pedro. And the fact that the Red Sox were able to get him, he was every 5th day in Boston. It was an event when Pedro took the mound. Just incredible. 2002 had a really good season there, 20-4, a 2.24 FIP, a 2.26 ERA that year. I mean, 2003. I mean, yes, 2003, people remember Pedro, you know, Grady Little leaving him in too long, but he was dominant in that game up to that point. If he had been taken out, imagine what people would be saying about that now. And then he ended up going on to the New York Mets. He faded towards the end of his career. His arm just could not hold up. Ended up going to the Phillies in 2009, helped them get to a World Series. But Pedro Martinez, easily, in my opinion, the best international pitcher of all time. And coming in at number 1 on my list, I have Roberto Clemente out of Puerto Rico. What an amazing career for Roberto Clemente, a Hall of Famer, an MVP, won 2 World Series, was a World Series MVP in one of those, a 15-time All-Star, 12-time Gold Glove winner, a 4-time batting champion. This guy was just off the charts in his career. For his career, he had 3,000 hits on the dot, the first ever Latin-born player to have 3,000 hits in the major leagues. Hit 317 for his career, over 1,300 RBIs, over 1,400 runs scored, a career 359 on base percentage, a 475 slugging. Year to year, this guy was just always so good, always hitting over 300 for his career. Actually, if we take a look from 1960 all the way to 1972, there was only 1 year here where he hit under 300. That is just absolutely incredible. Again, winning an MVP, got 3rd place the very next year. Roberto Clemente, just one of the best players of all time, in my opinion. Unfortunately, with Roberto Clemente, his life was cut short at 38 years old. He was actually flying to Nicaragua with a few other people following an earthquake to deliver relief, deliver them some goods. And on the way, the plane unfortunately went down and his life was cut short. Roberto Clemente, not just an amazing player, but an amazing person as well. And I think the best ever international amateur signing of all time. So that's my list of the best international amateur free agent signings of all time. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. Did I leave anyone off? Would you have moved anyone up or down the list? Let me know what you think down below. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.